the NASCAR Busch Series pre-race show on FX, and the start of what should be a wild weekend of racing here in Rockingham. Terrific weather to get things going. But first, last week, Nextel Cup down in Florida. The Daytona 500, Dale Earnhardt Jr., the ride of his life as he wins the Daytona 500 in only his 5th try. In fact, a big week of winning the Busch race, a twin 125, and first time that Jr. has ever led in the Cup points race. But Dale Jr. has never finished in the top 10 at the Rock. With a win Sunday, his name will go on the Rock, located just outside the racetrack where all the winners go who make it through Rockingham. And Rockingham, the town located in the sandhills of southeastern North Carolina. And for 2 days, this sparsely settled area will be a loud roar of motors and the screams of thousands of fans. It'll be noisy and hopping, the place to be. And of course, the fans demand the Hollywood Hotel be parked at trackside overlooking the start-finish line as we go to where the races are to bring you just a little bit closer to the action on the pre-race show. Hi, and welcome up, Chris Myers. I'm good to be back in the driver's seat as we crank it up and are ready to get going. And from the headliners like Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, to drivers out to make a name for themselves like Kyle Busch, Johnny Sauter, and Martin Truex Jr. And from now into July, if there's Nextel Cup or Busch Series action in the garage, the pits around the track, we're here to bring it to you. And joined, as always, the former crew chief, sidekick, Mr. Fix-It, Mr. Good Wrench, Jeff Hammond. Nice to see you again.
Hey, man, good to see you. Oh, man, ready to go.
Been working out again in the
offseason.
Yes, sir.
Got to get ready to go.
Okay, now you always talk about this track. This is a place where it's a survival of the fittest, right?
No, Chris. No? This time, survival of the smartest.
Oh, well, that leaves us out.
Well, but the thing is, it brings in these drivers because they've got to be smarter today. If you want to have a good run here today, folks, you're going to have to be using your head as well as your foot, because saving tires and making sure you don't overuse those tires too soon is going to be the key. All
right, we know about the Cup changes. In the Busch Series, some changes, but a little more racing.
I think it's going to make it better in some ways, Chris, but what they've done this year with the Busch cars, they've added 100 pounds. They've made them weigh the same thing as a Nextel Cup car, which is 3,400 pounds. But we talk about the rear spoiler and the Cup division. Well, this time, instead of taking 3/4 of an inch off the back of the spoiler, the Busch Series guys only took 1/4 of an inch. So the changes as far as the aero balance were very subtle. A lot of the guys said they couldn't even really tell it. So it should be a real interesting race as far as that idea is concerned, because a lot of these teams have been doing their homework with these short tracks, such as Bobby Hamilton Jr. He's really looking forward to coming back here.
All right, and the points race, as we get an early jump, this is the second Busch race, the championship battle underway after the season opening race at Daytona. Jr. in the lead. Johnny Benson's name not even listed. He came in 41st last week, but on Friday, he had actually the fastest car during qualifying, so he is on the pole, wins his first pole, really, in the Busch Series, and that earns him a visit with our Dick Berggren. Dick?
That's the good part of the story, Chris. The rest of the story is that after the time trials were all done and over, NASCAR pulled the car apart and discovered that the right front spring in Johnny Benson's car didn't exactly meet the letter of the law. And as a result, instead of starting on the inside of the front row this afternoon, Johnny is going to start dead last. Well, you got a lot of cars to pass. Are you going to charge, or are you going to try to pick them off one at a time?
Well, it'd be nice if we could pick off 10 at a time, but I'm not sure if we can do that. I mean, guys on the yellow Dodge just do a tremendous job, and this is something that, you know, we're more worried about that rule when they're 400 or 500 pound springs, not 1,400 pound springs. So just something that got by us, and we'll have to start from the back. But I'm still looking forward to it. A little more pressure today than there was maybe starting up front, but we'll start back so it happens.
He's got a great car. That car won both of the races here last year at the Rock with McMurray driving it. Let's go to Chris.
Right, yeah. And we're going to talk with Jamie McMurray. Thanks, Dick. And Johnny, boy, fame is fleeting, right? As Johnny finds
I'm telling you right now, this is something that you really don't need to have happen, because of the fact that all of a sudden you're feeling so good. Everybody's going through the garage area giving you congratulations about winning your first pole, and all of a sudden something like this jumps up and gets your focus off of what has happened. A lot of people now are probably going to look and say Johnny Benson didn't really earn that situation yesterday. So could have an effect the way these guys kind of enter the race. But I look for Johnny and that whole crew to kind of rally around it and say, well, if we come back and win the race, we'll disprove what anybody said about it.
Yeah, Benson is a racing veteran. Today he'll do battle with some of the young upcoming stars that we mentioned in the Busch Series, including 18-year-old Kyle Busch, the younger brother of Nextel Cup driver Kurt Busch, of course, and Steve Burns with the rookie driver. Steve?
And Chris, Kyle is the latest version, NASCAR's version of the can't-miss kid. The year you were born, Darrell Waltrip won his last championship. That doesn't seem possible, but you step into a ride with Hendrick Motorsports, a team that won the championship last year with Brian Vickers. Kyle, does that give you more confidence or more pressure, and why?
Well, it gives you a lot of pressure, but as well as it also gives me a lot of confidence in the team that I know that I'm with a great organization, of course, with Hendrick Motorsports, and I got the opportunity to be out here racing for the best with a sponsor of Lowe's, and Gladiator Garage Works on board with us this week. So, you know, we're really looking forward to the rest of the year, so hopefully we can just come out of some of these races with a good, strong finish, try not to get mixed up in anything, and have a good run for the end of the year.
Making just his 8th career start, and he will roll off 14th.
Thanks, Steve. Boy, Kyle really does look young. Speaking of young, in addition to Kyle, 2 other rookies in today's race from Wisconsin. Paul Menard, who starts 1 row behind Kyle, and Donnie Neuenberger, who's from Maryland, whose hobby is rescuing greyhounds. I'm not sure if it's the, the dog of the bus, but it's a nice thing to do anyway. And Jamie McMurray, who Dick Berggren mentioned was the winner last year, has a streak going for his 4th straight Busch win at the Rock. We'll see if Jamie will spill some secrets when we come back. We're live from the Rock here on FX. FX welcoming you back to Busch Series Racing here on FX, and of course with the realignment, Rockingham losing its fall race date, so this weekend is the only weekend of NASCAR racing this year from Rockingham, North Carolina. Back with Jeff Hammond here in the Hollywood Hotel, and it's Paul Menard, the rookie. He's a rookie. He's starting 15th. I want to make sure I get his name right.
Exactly.
Hopefully we'll be saying it a lot during
about him.
The Busch season. And unlike the Nextel Cup, no major change in the points. I mean, you get 5 bonus points for the win, but there's no 10-race shootout late at the end of the season. How will that affect, since it's similar to last year, but it certainly can juggle things in terms of winning races?
It could be just maybe a little bit, Chris, but right now we need to be looking at what the overall situation was last year. We had a great point race last year. It wasn't settled to the final race, but this year the biggest difference is the winner will get an extra 5 points. In years past, a guy hypothetically could win the race. Gentleman behind him could run second, lead the most laps, and you have a tie. So NASCAR decided we need to give the winner just a little bit more. So they stuck 5 points up there for him this year.
The guy who always gets his points, Jamie McMurray, going for 4 in a row here at the Rock. And let's check in with Matt Yoka. Matt?
Jamie McMurray swept both Busch Series races here last year with the car Johnny Benson put on the pole. Now that car was fast from the get-go, but faded near the end of the run. How is your car you're going to have today?
It's pretty much the opposite. It doesn't seem to want to go on low air pressure or on fresh tires, but it stays pretty consistent throughout the run. So I'm hoping today, they've had a caution with like 20 laps to go the last 2 races, so I'm hoping today it'll run on out.
Now you're chasing a big record. It may not rank as high as your first Nextel Cup win, but 4 in a row.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be huge. Mark Martin's so good here. I mean, he's been so good so long, so to be able to just be tied with him, that'd be huge.
He's won here from 2nd, 3rd, and 8th. He'll try to make it 4 from the 7th position.
Thanks, Matt. Off to the introductions for the fans here. And Jamie McMurray obviously looking for big things on the Cup Series and trying to accomplish something here. Mark Martin owning the record. He referred to Mark 4 straight Busch Series wins.
Well, Chris, I think what you're looking here today is a driver right now who has a love of a racetrack. He understands where all the little corners are. He knows where the braking points are. He knows where to pick the throttle up. He's kind of like a motocross rider. When you get in that zone and get in that rhythm, know where all the humps and bumps are, you go like a bat, and that's what he's been doing the last 3 times.
All right, going like a bat. Time to bring in Darrell Waltrip, who's won here 4 times.
He knows how to get around here, don't you, DW?
He knows how to get around. A lot talked about with the track and tire. DW, what should we look for today?
Well, it's kind of interesting if you think about it. Is it Jamie or was it the car? Because his car that he drove last year is on the pole. And, of course, he's right there with him. But so we got to watch that to see if Jamie was really as good as Jamie is, or was it really the car. But as Jeff said, it's about some racetracks fit your driving style. This place gets slick. It gets slimy. You get to slipping around, sliding around. And the cat that can just ease that gas pedal down and keep those rear tires from breaking loose and getting that good forward launch off the corner, that's the guy that's going to run good here today. Jamie seems to really, this track seems to suit his particular driving style. So I think he's still going to be the man to beat, I believe, before the day's over with.
Driver feedback always important with the crew chief. I know when I was in the garage, some of the crew chief and drivers were discussing that. Darrell, how is that the case here, especially with someone who has experience at doing what you just talked about?
Well, you know, you take Jamie, he's still pretty young, you know, and he doesn't have a lot of experience. But again, I just refer back to that rhythm thing, that going down there, you hear that engine at the right, it hits that right peak, and you turn that into the corner, and you get that left wheel right where it needs to be, and you got the finesse to pick the throttle up and drive up off the corner smooth. Being smooth is what pays off on long runs on these tires.
All right, Darrell, thanks. We'll join you in a moment with Mike Joy and also Larry McReynolds getting ready to call the race. FX, our first Busch race of the season.
I'm excited.
As you get a look at some of the drivers getting ready, we'll be back here live in just a moment. We're counting down to Busch Series racing here in Rockingham, North Carolina. Why is Anna Nicole Smith rolling around the rock this morning? And there she is moments ago. Well, she's going to handle pit signing duties for David Stremme, Jamie McMurray. They're the trim spa drivers, and all drivers will be weighed this year. And then at the end of the year, they'll see who has lost the most weight, who's in the best shape. Keep that down. Well, hot dog's not going to help, but you got to keep that downforce down a little bit, and we'll keep an eye on that. She looks good. This is not a reality series. It's Busch Series racing here on FX. And so we welcome you back. We're counting down and looking back to last week, rookie driver Scott Wimmer, an impressive third-place finish at the Daytona 500 in his first run ever at the Daytona 500. Actually led for 5 laps, passed by Tony Stewart on lap 176 of 200, and he joins us here in the Hollywood Hotel. Congratulations on that great run.
Yeah, thank you, guys. It was a great day for the Caterpillar car. Everybody worked real hard. We didn't have a lot of speed during preseason testing down there, and our twin 125 didn't go that great, but the guys stepped up and gave me a great car for the race, and that's really what counts.
In the 22 car, obviously taking over Bill Davis Racing as Ward Burton moves on. Now, you have had experience in Cup racing here at Rockingham. Talk about the differences of having a little experience coming here for tomorrow's race.
Yeah, I definitely did last year. We had I ran the last 4 races in the Caterpillar car at the end of last year and really struggled here. We didn't have a real good car, and I decided to come down here and test before Daytona, which I think was a big benefit for us. A lot of things were unknown coming here with a new tire and the body rules and everything like that, but fortunately we didn't have the greatest speed in qualifying, but race practice went real well, and we're really looking forward to a Subway 400.
All right, let's check in real quick. We'll continue with Scott Wimmer. Let's check in with Jeannie Zalaska, who's with Martin Truex Jr., who's the protege for Dale Earnhardt Jr. and part of his chance to Motorsports Chevrolet. Jeannie?
Well, you pretty much said it all. When you talk about Daytona, you got to talk about Dale Earnhardt Jr. He stole the spotlight, but he is giving back by fielding a Busch team. Chance 2 gives a chance to drivers like yourself. What do you have to do out on the track to make us stop talking about your boss?
Well, hopefully we can do what we did last year, but one spot better. Had a good run here last year, and car's been real good all weekend. Happy hour was real good, so looking forward to putting the Bass Pro car up front today.
All right, we'll look for that. He rolls off 11th today.
All right, thanks very much. I know Martin was telling me, too, that he beats Junior. Him and Dale Jr. play video games all the time, racing. It helps him with actual racing. You play any video games?
No, it's something I never really got into. My little brother, he does that a lot over the internet and things like that, and just something I guess I'm not very good at it, so I kind of just gave up with it and just stuck to trying to work on my race car.
Yeah, I don't feel like a long range. I don't like these things either, Scott, but sit there a minute ago and watch the replay of last week in Daytona, and you see that 22 car out front, and I asked you about what it was like, and he said, hey, man, my back was sore. I kept getting hit in the back so much, but what all of that, when you look at that, how does that make you feel, and are you ready to go back to Daytona in July, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I definitely am. I mean, it's real exciting. Bill Davis race cars have always been really good down at Daytona, and I knew that going into it, and we went down there, we ran strong, we came out of there, and it's such a difference this year with the points race being 26 races. Anything you can get right off the bat with having a good run at Daytona is really going to benefit you. So we're looking forward going back there. We learned a lot, and I think you know, it's going to be a great race in July down there. It's going to be under the lights, so some things are going to change, but I think we can take a lot of our notes back.
Being thrust into the public eye even more so with Cup racing in January, there was a charge for a DUI, and I think it's the next court appointment is in March, and obviously it's something you've had to deal with. NASCAR has not handed down any punishment until they find out the specifics. How have you handled that, and also not let that affect what your responsibilities are?
Well, I mean, really, it's been something very hard for me to handle. It's really had a big impact on my life, my family's life, my race team, everybody. I'm very fortunate that I've got a strong group of people around me that support me and believe in me. And they know I made a mistake, that I'll never make this mistake again. And really, we're going to turn it into, I'm going to try to help other people. I'm going to do some things with charity. You know, that it's going to be a long punishment for me. There's a lot of things I'm going to have to go through in my life that, you know, frankly, I don't have a lot of time to do, but I'm going to go through, step up, and just learn from this mistake and make sure it doesn't happen to other people.
Right, community service to help other people. Real quick, though, positive in the offseason, married, congratulations, Jody, right?
Yep,
Your wife?
Real excited about that. Had a great wedding out in Vegas, and things have been going real good. Race car's been fast down at Daytona, and we're looking good here at Rockingham, so my life has been pretty good.
She's obviously a race fan, Scott Wimber fan. You're going to hang with us, watch a little race from here. Let's check in with Steve Burns as he gets ready for the race down on the track. Steve?
Well, Chris, the name above the driver's door says Stanton Barrett, but the 91 car will be driven by Kenny Wallace, fastest driver of practice, but problems in qualifying. Kenny, what happened, and how did you get back here? You didn't qualify for the race.
Well, it's a quick story. You know, we were quickest in practice. We went to go out with the Stacker 2 Chevy, and the water cool-down unit, there's nozzles, and for some reason they stuck, and I was running on water. So it was just a bad deal, and because I was a Winston Cup driver last year, they wouldn't give me a provisional, and I just really want to thank Stanton Barrett. I mean, what an incredible person to let me drive his car and get championship points, so it really means a lot to me.
And Kenny Wallace actually drove home to Charlotte last night. His buddy Michael Waltrip called, said, get back down here. We'll find you a ride. Good luck today, Kenny.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks, Steve. And we have, there's 9 Bushwhackers, guys, of course, driving the Cup and the Busch Series running in today's race. Dale Jr., of course, not running, as we pointed out. Talking about this track and being a veteran's track, how does that favor those guys in this race?
I think right now what you're talking about, Chris, is the experience these guys come in with. They understand the mechanics and how sometimes you have to learn how to handle that driving in the corner not too hard. I mean, that's one thing about when you understand this racetrack, you can be a lot more effective. I think that's where that experience is going to come into play.
Now, Scott, how did the veterans treat you last week, being up there with the big boys?
You know, at the beginning of the race, we didn't have a lot of help, but towards the middle, towards the end, when they saw we had a car that was competitive and could run up front, they decided to work with us a little more. And, you know, Anheuser-Busch does such a great job with this series, putting money in this series to give us, you know, me formerly and a lot of these guys a chance to race against NXTEL Cup drivers and try to make a name for themselves, get to run on some tracks like this.
All right, Scott, currently 3rd in the Winston Cup or NXTEL Cup points. So we're getting ready to go racing Busch style. Let's go down trackside for the invocation.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise? Please remove your hats as the U.S. Navy Color Guard from Naval Hospital Marine Corps Air Station, Cherryport, North Carolina, presents our nation's colors. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing as Wayne Tuttle, PD, Baptist Association, delivers today's invocation.
May we pray? Father, thank you for this day, for the beautiful weather, for the warm sunshine. Thank you, our Heavenly Father, for everyone that's here. Now, Lord, would you bless every driver, every crewman, guide and lead in this day. In thy name we pray. Amen.
Please remain standing and join in the singing of our national anthem by Carbon Leaf from Richmond, Virginia.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, and the home of the brave?
setting the tone for the roar of the engines. They're getting ready to roll. We're going to see a first-time winner here. Maybe a David Stremme, who was a 2003 Rookie of the Year. Maybe a Kyle Busch, who has 2 career second-place finishes in the Busch Series. We'll be back. Get ready to roll here in just a moment. We're back live. Johnny Benson, rear view mirror. He was on the pole, but moved to the back. Post-inspection procedure violation on the right front spring. So up front, it's David Stremme and David Green as we get ready to roll here in just a moment. Time for the NASCAR Busch Series Race 2 on FX, presented by John Deere, as we come to you from North Carolina and the North Carolina Speedway here in Rockingham. Let's go up to the voices of NASCAR and FX and Fox. Darrell Waltrip, Larry McReynolds, Mike Choi. Gentlemen, good to see you. Get ready to go for another season here, I hope.
Can't wait. It's hard to go to Daytona and be there all week and watch somebody else do the race, but that's okay. We're here. NASCAR on Fox is back, and we couldn't be happier. In this field of 43 cars, Darrell, there are 7 drivers who are making their first Busch Series start at the Rock. What would you tell them?
Well, I'd tell them, first of all, be real careful out there, y'all, because it's going to get mighty close at times. But you know what? Some of them are going to leave here and say, man, I like Rockingham. Others are going to leave here and say, they ought to plug that thing up and fill it up with water, because I don't like that place. So you never know when you come here as a rookie what you're going to get.
Larry, 200 miles is a sprint race. Now, how would you set up differently for 200 miles than if you were running 400 here on Sunday?
Well, I have never envied the crew chiefs in the Busch Series because they have a tire rule. And basically what it means is they only have 3 sets of these tires that they can change under caution. Now, this race is 200 miles, 197 laps. So you have to be so careful. Unlike the Nextel Cup Series tomorrow, every time the yellow flag comes out, those guys will come to pit road for 4 tires. These guys cannot do it. They have to be conservative and make sure they have some tires for the end. And you mentioned a sprint race. I think that's the issue watching Johnny Benson in that one car. Even though he's got a good race car and you can pass, this is a short race. It's going to take some strategy on those guys' part, I think, along with a good race car to get him up to the front.
Well, that's a quick hot rod, and Benson can get it there.
Yeah, you can. And I think, again, the thing interesting to watch is if it's the car or was it Jamie. That's the thing that I'm really excited to see.
Well, we're about to find out. We're set to go racing at the Rock. Let's go back trackside.
For the most famous words in motorsports.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Cars roar to life. We're set to go racing on FX. The NASCAR Busch Series is next.
NASCAR on FX is brought to you by John Deere, by YJ Stinger, by Miller High Life, and by Castrol GTX.
It's the NASCAR Busch Series on FX, presented by John Deere. Race number 2 for the NASCAR Busch Series. We'll let you have a look at our starting lineup, the Castrol starting grid, as it scrolls across the bottom of the screen. Now, since Johnny Benson has to go to the rear for that front spring violation, the inside row moves up. David Green will actually start from the inside of the front row. We'll let you have a look at the starting grid as we do a little business and update you from pit road. Here's Matt.
Mike, last year owner Richard Childress won the Car Owners Championship with the 21 team. During the winter, he swapped his 2 and 21 teams. Ron Hornaday kept the AC Delco colors and his number 2, but now trying to win the driver's title with crew chief Butch Hilton. Butch told me they made 3 30-lap runs, just seeing what this tire will do here at the Rock. Very, very pleased. He told me the car's not a rocket ship from the get-go, but it is at the end of a long run. To Steve Burns.
Hey, Matt, Jason Keller has a lot of experience here, making his 23rd start. He also has a win, and he rolls off 5th. That's the good news. His crew chief, Wes Ward, new to this team, is concerned about tire wear on the left side of the race car. They changed the gear this morning, and Wes is hoping that the practice this morning that the Nextel Cup cars had laid down enough rubber to fix that problem. To Jeannie Zelasco.
Well, Steve, 2003 Busch Rookie of the Year, David Stremme may have lost his stripe, but he has not lost his momentum. He finished 6th at Daytona. Daytona. He rolls off in the front row today, and you better believe he says he's compared notes with his teammate today, Jamie McMurray, who'll be pushing for his 4th win at the Rock. Dick?
Strategy can play out in many ways here this afternoon. Here is one of those ways. Most teams have set their race cars up for long runs, but a few are better on short runs, better than the other guys on fresh tires. So watch for the end of this race. If we have a caution flag with 10 or 20 laps to go, one of those guys who we haven't heard from all day could win this afternoon.
Thanks, Dick. 1981, these cars first ran here at the Rock. Dave Marcus, the winner. David Pearson, the following year. Dale Earnhardt, Sam Ard, the first 4 winners of this race. But Darrell, only 5 times since 1981 has this race been run, and at an average speed of over 120 miles an hour. Cautions and all figure in.
Yeah, it's just one of those joints where, I mean, it's hard to average much more than 100 mile an hour around a 1-mile racetrack. And also the other thing that's difficult is to make a pit stop under green and not lose 2 laps. So that makes racing here a little bit tough on the crew chief.
Pace car is in. David Green will bring them to the green flag for 200 miles.
He would love to win this battle down to turn 1, come back to lead that first lap, and go ahead and get those 5 bonus points out of the way for leading the lap. All these cars driving pretty good right now on those fresh tires, but it won't be long into this run. They'll start slipping and sliding.
Yeah, because honestly, these guys haven't been out with the track this hot, Larry. I mean, they've been making their practice runs here yesterday in the evening and last night, and this track's hot and slick right now. They're going to find a whole different animal in what they're maybe what it's like the last time they were out.
Yeah, last night when they had their final practice, the track temperature was down in the 60s and low 70s. Started this race right at 82 degrees.
And that do make a difference.
David Green leads from the pole. David Stremme, Jason Keller, Johnny Sauter, Casey Kane, the front 5. Ron Hornaday gave Rudeman there in the 87 a bump coming out of turn 2. Whoa, David almost loses it and hangs on.
That like to have been big right there. He's going to lose a bunch of spots just gathering it back up. Already starting to see some of these cars move up the racetrack. Yesterday in qualifying, fast way around was right around the bottom. You move your car to where it feels the best now.
David Green with about a half-second lead. The Bruco team still running Pontiacs in this series, and they're out front. Let's have another look here. Watch Rudeman in the 87.
Like his car just got a little bit loose when he picked the throttle up, Darrell, and it just sucked it over toward Ron Hornaday in the 2 car.
I've seen that act before. I think same thing happened to him in a truck race at Daytona. Pressures are low right now, Larry. They got real low air pressure, and the cars are just a little bit hard to control right now.
It's the view from Mike Wallace's car.
Now, Johnny Benson dropped to the rear. He was credited with winning the pole, and he's now climbed from 43rd to 33rd in the yellow freight number 1.
He's been getting about 2 cars a lap, but the closer he gets to the front, the harder it's going to get. Plus, right now, Darrell, we've talked about tires. He's really having to drive that car hard right now and really using up his tires early.
That's okay, though. You got to get caught up.
Got to get there.
You got to get to the front first. We'll fix it later.
Back up front with David Green. Jeff Fuller has gone to the garage area, and Justin Ashburn makes an early stop.
Yeah, now see, this is one of those places where David Green right now is worried to death. He's leading the race. He says, is it going to last? How long is my car going to be this good? You know, am I going to start backing up here shortly?
Let's go back to 7th spot, where Kevin Harvick and Martin Truex Jr. do battle.
Martin Truex Jr., he finished 2nd here in the fall race, so he has some experience here. Look, we got a battle for 2nd. David Stremme in the 32 car getting passed by Johnny Sauter in the 27. Johnny Sauter had that great run at Daytona last week, finishing 2nd.
And that puts the Bruco cars 1-2.
Good teammates.
Dodge dominated qualifying, but it's 2 Pontiacs running up front.
Johnny Sauter has to feel so good about this year. He ran the entire series last year, but with 2 different teams. This year, he's with 1 team running all the races with 1 group of guys, 1 team.
And he's officially a bushwhacker because he'll do the entire Nextel Cup season as well.
That's very fashionable this year. We got a number of guys that are going to try that. Tell you, old Mikey right there in the Dream Machine, he told me, he said, tell Artie to put ISO on me because I'm going to be coming, and he is. He's actually, he started back there with Johnny Benson, and he's moving up pretty good.
Up to 23rd from 27. Passing Mike Bliss. No. Battling Mike Bliss.
Scaring Mike Bliss. Now, he has a clear view out of that windshield right now, but Darrell, you know, as this race goes on, a lot of sand, that windshield start getting sandblasted, the sun starts setting in turn one, that view won't be near that clear here near the end of this race.
Yeah, that's one good thing about a shorter race here. At least you don't get it all the way setting in your eyes as it goes into turn one.
Teammates? What teammates? Here's a battle for the lead among teammates.
I want to lead, baby.
Johnny Sauter, he wants to get those 5 bonus points for lead.
Uh-oh, Stremme.
He was running in 3rd last time by, but he's in trouble. Coming to pit road, it looks like.
Yeah, and not very fast either, as if it's pretty terminal.
Helmet cam on David Stremme.
So we can see him as gauges. I think the tack is dead.
Don't sound like it's even running. He's just coasting.
He's trying to fire it. That's when the crew chief says, "Are you sure?"
Jeannie?
Well, Stremme just came on the radio, and I don't know what to say. It's just dead. It's not going anywhere. It's not even cranking.
New leader is Johnny Sauter on the right of your screen. He's passed his teammate, David Green. Puts the Kleenex car out front. Ron Hornaday inside of Robbie Gordon.
It's a battle for 12th.
I think Hornaday and David Green, those are two really good. Those are two guys going to battle for this Busch Series championship this year.
Yeah, I talked to Ron Hornaday's crew chief this morning, Butch Hilton. He felt like they gave a little bit up for qualifying because they worked on most of their race setups, even in qualifying practice, and it looks like it's paying off.
And with them, the 00 at Jason Leffler. They're in 14th.
See the different grooves they're starting to run here as we're approaching 15 laps into this run.
David Stremme, a lonely man on pit road, trying to get refired and back at it. Johnny Sauter leads David Green. This is the NASCAR Busch Series on FX, presented by John Deere.
FX welcomes you back. Live Busch racing from the Rock. Johnny Sauter, who qualified 6th, took over on lap 13 and is currently the leader. Moments ago, the 5 car, that's 18-year-old rookie Kyle Busch, having problems as the left rear tire goes flat.
Chris, what we're going to be looking at right now is that as Kyle Busch is coming up through there, you see he and Ron Hornaday are side by side where Hornaday slides up and they get into each other. Right there in the left rear, you see the smoke come off there. More than likely, he knocked the valve stem loose in that number 5 car's left rear tire. So Kyle Busch had to come to pit road. And, you know, he is probably right now, he'll find out here in a few seconds, this may be a blessing in disguise. When I talked to his crew chief earlier this morning, there was some speculation. If he can make it to lap 50, he may come get tires anyway. We have a challenge for the lead right with Martin Truex trying to get around Johnny Sauter.
And we welcome Scott Weber back, who's been watching with us from the Hollywood Hotel. You were 9th in the Busch points last year, a rookie on the Cup Series. So what about the first-timers here at the Rock, or the rookies, those like Kyle Busch, as we see a pretty good battle going on here for the lead?
Well, right now it looks like they're doing a great job, and it looks like the same old Rockingham. These guys, a majority of their practice was last night under the cooler conditions. Now with the sun out, it looks like they're really struggling. A lot of guys are getting real free up off the corner. So something that the Nextel Cup guys are going to really have to look at, and we're going to have to be tuning on our cars all day long.
Yeah, I was going to ask what you will be watching in today's race. Anything that you'll benefit from when you go into tomorrow?
Oh, you definitely always do. Whenever you can watch a race and just see the different lines that the guys are using and the different ways that their pit strategies work out. We see Kyle Busch came in a little bit earlier than everybody else, but he's not going to get charged for that set of tires because it was under green. So it could come out to maybe help them out if they get another real long run and get a caution towards the end of the race.
All right, thanks, Scott Weber. We'll look for you tomorrow. Good luck in the race here. Appreciate you stopping by.
All right, no problem. Anytime, guys. Thank you.
Have a good season. We'll watch for him in the 22 car. Let's go back upstairs to Mike Joy.
Martin Truex Jr. to the lead. Unscheduled pit stops for Justin Ashburn and Gus Wasson. Wasson now coming back into the pits. Jeff Fuller, the first car out of the race with a vibration. And Wasson's return to the pits is a penalty stop for a missing lug nut. Here's Matt on the leader.
Mike, every driver can point to a pivotal point in their career where they got their lucky break. For Martin Truex Jr., it just so happens that a guy who worked on this Busch North team was the best man at his wedding. That friendship helped get Martin Truex into the Chance 2 operation. Martin Sr. and Jr. were at Richmond 2 years ago when Dale Jr. was testing the Chance 2 team. He struck up a friendship with. Go ahead, you can go out and test the car. Well, later on, when he got his chance, it rained. Dale Jr. never forgot that and said, you know what, someday I'll let you drive the car, and guess what? He sure did.
You know, I just want to follow up on talking about Kyle Busch and the 5 car. A lot of these cars were 42 laps into this race, into this run. A lot of these cars, they want a caution so bad right now. Their cars are sliding around. They're not driving good. And just to show he wants a long green run. He wants it to cycle through all of these green flag stops without a caution, put him back in sync with these guys.
What do you have to watch out for when you're on 4 stickers and everybody else is skating around?
Yeah, well, it's that closing rate. I mean, you come up on guys and they look in the mirror and they see you coming. All of a sudden, where'd he go? And he's right up under. So you got to really be on your toes. The spotter has to really tell you, here comes the 5 car. He's on fresh tires. Give him some room.
Now let's follow up on this Johnny Benson story in the 1 car. Remember, he sat on the pole, had to go to the rear of the field at the start of the race because of a post-qualifying inspection. He's worked his way up to 16th, 44 laps into this run, but he's almost 2/3 of a lap behind the leader. But we want to document why he was penalized. They don't have a rate rule here like they do at Daytona on the springs, but Jeff, it had something to do with the amount of coils in his front spring. He was shy of what you should be.
Yeah, Larry, what they talk about as far as what his infraction was, this is a front spring, and what NASCAR looks at is this the spacing between each one of these coils. And what they're looking for is to have 4.5 active coils. In this situation right here, this is where they would take the latest reading, would be right here at the tip of the spring. In Johnny Benson's case, they felt like this part of the spring was back around here too far, and the active number of coils was wrong. And that was the reason why he was disqualified and moved to the back of the field.
Now, one thing I think, not to interrupt you, Darrell, that I think will help this team, I think they need to gamble in short pit. Get the pit road before some of those guys and take advantage of those fresh tires. But again, the gamble is hoping a caution don't come out and burn them.
Is that what David Ruderman's doing right now, short pitting, or is he in for trouble?
He was in trouble. He's and then we got a car in trouble here too. I don't know if we're going to get a caution or not. We got everybody bottlenecked up over here.
That's Carl Long in the 83.
He just got in the wall down in turns 1 and 2, and I think he must have a problem.
We stayed green, though, no caution.
He got in the wall in 1 and 2, and then it kind of followed him all the way down into 3 and 4.
Ooh, boy.
Right in front of Casey Kane in the 38 car. Everybody has to go to the bottom of the racetrack because he's still wiggling down the backstretch.
It looks like his left rear tire might be flat.
There is no caution.
Yeah, he's got a flat tire or a broken track bar.
I think it may be the track bar. Yeah, the rear end looks like it's wobbling around in there now.
Track bar holds the rear end in the center of the car, and it looks like maybe it's pulled apart at one end or so and let the rear end float back and forth left and right.
Yeah, you can see the left rear tire sticking way out. That's why I first saw it, I thought it was flat, but it's actually knocked the rear end housing way over to the left there. Took a pretty hard lick. You saw it buck up in the air when he hit the wall over there.
So Long will have to pit his Barnes Precision Marine Machine Ford as Martin Truex Jr. has a 1.8-second lead. This is the NASCAR Busch Series on FX, presented by John Deere.
Welcome back to Rockingham. Martin Truex, after 55 of the 197 laps, leads at the Goody's Headache Powder 200 under our first caution of the day. And Jeff Hammond, take us through exactly what happened to create this caution.
Yeah, we're sitting here looking right now. You can see Justin Ashburn car comes into the picture here, up into the wall. He goes right in the center of the corner. Car just breaks loose, and he slides up into the outside retaining wall and brought out our first caution of the day.
Truex leading, Johnny Sauter second, Greg Biffle up to third. Let's go upstairs so Mike Joy and check on the pit stops. Mike?
Well, that Ashburn car hadn't been right. He'd made 2 unscheduled pit stops already for tire changes, and you see him making yet another as the leaders come down pit road.
All 22 cars on the lead lap, and it will be 4 tires and adjustments, Steve Burns.
Well, there, Mac, Jason Keller's in. He says his car's getting into the corners too well, but not well enough getting off. They'll make a track bar adjustment and adjust air pressure. Dick Berggren.
Greg Biffle had to drive around Johnny Sauter. Sauter had been running second, Biffle third, but he's gotten himself into his pit. How's this for strategy? The crew asked Biffle, what do you want? He said, put tires on it. To Matt.
Leader Martin Truex Jr. in. They're going to work on the left side. The car was really good on exit. He said the car could turn a little bit better. Bono fixed him up with a little bit different set of matched tires. Jeannie?
Well, Jamie McMurray in and out. He's been telling the crew, I've been crazy loose, and if you needed proof, we saw that wiggle a few laps back. Jamie worried that he actually melted the tire off that right rear, but it looks okay. He's just not pleased with the car. Crazy loose. Lots of adjustments, guys.
Trouble for Bobby Hamilton Jr. He is backing up to return to his pit.
Probably got a lug nut off.
Left side up. Jack the left side up.
He better hustle.
Pace car's coming around.
There he goes.
He'll get out in time.
The reason they jack the left side up is they don't want the wheel to be out off center there when they try to tighten the lugs up, so they take the weight off of it.
But he's going to go from about 4th or 5th back to about 22nd or 23rd, so not a good move.
Martin Truex Jr. hangs on to the lead through pit stops. Greg Biffle now second. Michael Waltrip, Johnny Sauter, Ron Hornaday. Aaron's invites you to do the math. Here are the biggest movers in today's race. Johnny Benson started out back, currently in 15th. And the rest of the big movers, Mike Wallace just made a big move. He got the wave around and is now back on the lead lap.
Yeah, pardon me, boys.
Coming through.
What do you say?
I've been waiting all winter.
Uh-oh.
Crank it up.
Jam. Greg Biffle is the leader. Martin Truex is second. Michael Waltrip third. But it was Johnny Sauter who got stuck behind a lap car, and that cost him 3 or 4 spots.
He got stuck behind the 96 car of Gus Wasson. That enabled Martin Truex Jr. and Greg Biffle just to get a huge lead. But I'm going to tell you, Greg Biffle, who started way back in 19th position, he has taken the lead of this race, Dick Berggren. Yeah, he has. He picked up 1 spot thanks to his pit crew doing such a good job on that last pit stop, Larry. But the car is not perfect. He has got a vibration in that automobile, which he says has been there all during practice and qualifying. Didn't tell the pit crew much about that until just a few moments ago. Come at.
One of the cars that looks almost perfect is Michael Waltrip. He's hugging the bottom. In fact, Bono Mannion, Martin Truex, and crew chief told Martin that 99 looked to be the strongest car. I talked to his team. They made a slight air pressure adjustment to fix the tight condition. Steve?
Well, Matt, Nextel Cup star Kevin Harvick is not having a good day so far. He started 9th, dropped all the way to 13th. Right now, listed 10th. He said his car is miserable on the tight side. To make matters worse, his earplugs are falling out, and there's trouble on the racetrack.
Johnny Benson's car slowed in turn 4, and he was piled into by the 56 of Regan Smith.
I think he had a flat tire. He wanted to get to pit lane, but he couldn't, and then he got run into, and now he's in big trouble.
Yeah, I mean, he's just going to continue to lose more and more time here. And again, this is where the bottom falls out. You're on the bud pole. You go to the rear of the field because of infraction.
Caution is out. Second one of the day.
Yeah, we got the debris on the racetrack. Pierre type.
Johnny B broken.
You can see he's got a left rear tire down. And he was trying to get the thing to pit lane, and not a good time to be trying to get to pit lane. He's going to have to retread.
Second caution, and it comes just 10 laps after the first. With the limited tire availability in the Busch Series, likely pit road will be pretty empty.
We'll let you know in just a second, but I'm going to tell you who the real benefactor of that caution could be Kyle Busch in the 5 car. He at one time was 2 laps down. Now he's going to get to go around the leader when we get 1 to go to get the free pass. He'll be back on the lead lap. And just to explain that free pass quickly, remember, this is something that NASCAR started doing with a handful of races to go last year to keep the cars from racing back to the caution. The first car behind the leader, regardless of where he's at, that's 1 lap down where he's at on the racetrack when the caution comes out. Before they go back racing, he gets to go around the leader and make that lap back up. He's at the back of the field, but he's back on the lead lap.
Here's Matt on Johnny Benson.
Mike, to add to the tire story that you were mentioning, in fact, Mark Reno, the crew chief, is up on top of the press box as the spotter. He told John Wolf, just change the left rear so that way we save our right sides for later.
And that's the other good thing about Kyle Busch. He got a set of tires that these other guys don't have, because he had to stop under the green.
Hood is up for Hermie Sadler as we work the second caution of the day. This is the NASCAR Busch Series on FX, presented by John Deere. Kyle Busch is back on the lead lap, and we're back for the restart as Greg Biffle hauls them off into turn 1. Martin Truex, Michael Waltrip, Jason Keller, Johnny Sauter, Ron Hornaday, David Green, and Casey Kane are the first 8.
Just like on that last restart, Greg Biffle gets going so good, and then he took advantage of the lap car of Stacy Compton in the 59 on the inside.
Darrell, the traffic, the lap cars, they can't much help you here, but they sure can hurt you.
Oh boy, they take up all the good racing room, you know, and you got to pick what line to go in, and you never can be sure where the cat in front of you is going to go.
Darrell, I believe Michael Waltrip in the 99 is much quicker right now than Martin Truex Jr. in the 8 car. And he's going to go to the bottom right along the right line, but Martin Truex shuts the door on him.
Yeah, and that was a good move on Michael's part. He could have really made a mess out of that, but he gave Martin a little room there.
But he's much quicker right now. And he sees Greg Biffle up there getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, he can't afford to wait too long. And if Martin opens that bottom up like that, he's going to have to go.
They clear the lap car of Compton. Rudeman, the 87, coming along with them, is 2 laps down after a green flag tire stop.
We do need to mention David Stremme is back in the race, 46 laps down, so obviously it wasn't anything like a broken camshaft. Riding with Stremme right now on the helmet cam. Jeannie, what was going on with David Stremme?
Well, they finally diagnosed the problem as a distributor problem. They said, quite frankly, it just broke, so they were able to change it. It just, as you know, takes a lot of time. David Stremme would not get out of the car. He kept the net up and said, I am going back out there, and it did come to fruition. As to Bobby Hamilton Jr., well, 30-plus seconds, not really too long to wait at a red light, but an eternity for the 25 car in his pit stall. The socket on the left front wheel just jammed. There's nothing they can do about it.
Right now, he's back in 16th position. He's coming, but he's got a long way to go. Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25.
And I think when things like that happen, I think the folks at home, there's so many elements that go into having a good day. So many things. You can have a great car. You can be doing everything right. Have a pit problem in the pits with an air gun. And so everything's got to work right for you to get to victory circle.
Hey, what's working right now is for Ron Hornaday in the 2 car is the high side of this racetrack. And remember, he's working with Butch Hilton and the entire group that worked with Kevin Harvick and Johnny Sauter last year that actually won the Busch Owners Championship. These guys are used to running up front.
Matt?
Well, Larry Mack, we were talking to Butch Hilton this morning. He won a Crew Chiefs Championship last year for RC. You can add an Owners Championship. His son, 16-year-old Brandon, won his Roadster title earlier today in Charlotte. He just got the cell phone call.
Matt, if you get a chance, ask Butch if he's talked to the group down there. My Brandon's racing as well, and these guys here, they're racing right now. This is Jason Keller in the 22 and Jamie McMurray in the 30, splitting the lap car of Stacy Compton in the 59.
Yeah, they're just having a hard time getting by Stacy. He's not giving them a whole lot of room to work with there, and put himself in harm's way a couple of times.
Stacy Compton right now, he's racing just to stay the lead car that's a lap down where he could get a free pass to go around if the caution comes out.
Watch Jason Keller trying to make some racing room in the 22 on the bottom of the racetrack. Way on the bottom.
Yes, he was. You're down there where you get yourself in trouble because that transition between that apron and the banking is much different.
But there is grip on that white line. Those left tires, when they're really hot, they'll hook to that white line.
Kevin Harvick's view of it all.
See, that windshield's not near as clear. Greg Biffle, he's in trouble.
The leader up in smoke.
You got more than a vibration right now, I believe, Greg. That's definitely engine problem.
Yeah, I think that's what he was saying. I think I know what the vibration was.
Caution is out for the third time today at lap 80. Dick Berggren.
Well, Biffle just did one word into the radio. He said vibration. That's all he said, vibration. Remember, we talked earlier. He said there was a vibration in that car. Brad Parrott, the crew chief, said, don't worry, we'll load it up and go to Las Vegas. They're going to have to win some other day, not today. He knew there was no need to bring it to pit road and lift the hood. He's got problems that's not going to get him back in the race.
But by the same token, he's out there leading the race, doing what he's supposed to do. Thing blows up, we'll get him next week. They know it'll run. They know they can win races. They know they can lead races. So not a great day, but not a terrible day.
But a tough day for Jack Roush, who owns that car.
And you know, Jack takes, I mean, he is so involved in the engine programs and all those cars. He takes engine failures really, really personal almost.
We might see these leaders come to pit road. We may see a little cat and mouse. If one comes, everybody has to come. It's been 20 laps. Here they all come.
But you got to come, if you got to come to pit road and be in single file by those cones on the racetrack there too, Larry, so you can't dive back out at the last second.
And the 59 will get the free pass. Stacy Compton earns a lap back. Steve?
Mike, Jason Keller says he has no rear grip and not enough forward bite. They just made a chassis adjustment and 4 tires. Dick.
Johnny Sauter has pitted. This will be the second set of tires. He has only 3 for this event. That's all NASCAR allows. He got a break with the 60 car leaving the event. He can drive right straight out to Matt.
Martin Truex said his car was tight at the beginning of the run. Bono Mannion said, do you want a track bar adjustment? He said, no, the car started to free up. I'm going to be too worried that the car will be too free near the end. It's going to be a close battle off pit road. Jeannie?
Well, the 30 car of Jamie McMurray said the car was a lot better, but they decided to make a few more adjustments. Remember, we mentioned earlier how loose the car was. The biggest problem during this pit stop is during the track bar adjustment. It just took a little bit longer than they thought, as sometimes the weaponry fight back. The equipment get in the way, as much like Bobby Hamilton Jr., how he had the problem with the socket wrench. Problems here as well, guys.
A little situation on pit road right here. The 38, Casey Kane, and Jason Keller in the 22 car. And then Jason Leffler in the 00 pulls out. And I put a lot of that on the crew chief's shoulders there, because that driver, he can't really see where he's at in that race car.
And he's pitting in the turn. When you're pitting in the turn like that, when you come out, you're coming out into the guys that are coming around that corner, and they clip the right front.
He's going to have to come back to pit road, and he was running in 5th position. So like Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25 while ago gives up a lot of track position. There you see a lot of damage on Jason Leffler. 00 car, he's back in as well.
A lot of the guys won't pick those pits in that turn right there because you cannot see when you pull out.
It's like running into a funnel.
Closing in on halfway. Martin Truex Jr., the leader.
Welcome back to the Goody's Headache Powder 200. Martin Truex Jr., 23-year-old from New Jersey, driving the car owned by Dale Earnhardt Jr., currently your leader. Here's what happened a little bit earlier. Things got off to a bumpy start on lap 3. David Rudeman here in the 87 car maintains control. David Strumme couldn't do much on lap 11. Engine problems.
Yeah, they had some kind of distributor problem right there. You see the car being pushed behind the wall. The crew was starting to work on it, trying to find out exactly what the problem was. But since that time right there, they were able to determine it was a distributor, make the changes back on the racetrack.
Rookie Kyle Busch gets into it with Ron Hornaday. forced to pit, cost him 2 laps. He's made that up. Greg Biffle taking the lead from Truex Jr. Later had engine problems, though, for the 60 car. And here Johnny Benson, who was on the pole and moved to the back of the pack to start with a left rear tire going down, having some problems running into Regan Smith. Let's check in now on pit road with Matt Yoakum.
And Michael Waltrip on his previous pit stop, they made an air pressure adjustment to try to fix that tight condition. It helped a little bit, but not enough. But Michael was too worried that if they made a change on this stop, it might actually make the car worse and go the opposite way. So they didn't want to over-adjust, so they made no adjustment at all. Just 4 tires, Steve.
Hey, Matt, a little bit of a problem for Kevin Harvick on pit road. This is what is on the end of the impact wrench, and it hits the lug nut. The spring, you can see it's mangled, got caught, and they had to pull it off. Remarkably, they came in 9th and went out 8th. Dick Berggren.
Sauter lost several spots. Johnny Sauter wound up in 9th. He had been doing a whole lot better than that. Slow pit stop as a result of trouble on the left front.
So we're set to go back to green with Truex the leader, Waltrip, Hornaday, Keller, David Green, who started on pole, and McMurray.
I wonder if that mangled spring was like what was wrong with Johnny Benson's car. Do you think he had a mangled spring in it?
I don't know. I think it was by design.
Oh, you think it was?
I'm going to tell you the biggest story is most of these guys, Darrell, only have 1 more sets of tires left in their pits to use under caution, and we got over 100 laps to go. But they're all in the same boat.
This could get ugly.
This a much more orderly restart. Lap car staying down on the inside.
Ron Hornaday in the 2 car, he immediately goes to the high side. He wants that second spot from Michael Waltrip in the 99.
Yeah, and traditionally Michael's car will be better on the longer run. He's usually a little slow on the get-go, but he usually comes on well on the long run. But this car looks pretty darn fast right now. And he started back in 27th spot. He worked his way right there, and he's now racing up here to try to get the lead from Martin here before long.
Ron Hornaday in the deuce up to 3rd. Jeannie?
Well, Ron Hornaday having a great day. His pit stop basically just put 4 new ones on for me. He said this car is awesome. It is perfect, and it hasn't even really started to go yet.
And right now with Michael Waltrip in the 99 on fresh tires, I mean, he's running the bottom through 3 and 4. His car's digging. I mean, going to the high side now in 3 and 4 is really not paying off for Ron Hornaday.
Yeah, he's about a 10th quicker than my 2 tenths right there on that lap. When you talk about him digging, the tires are sticking to the racetrack. He's down in there in the front end, sticking good for him. He's back in the throttle, and he's really able to come through the turns with a lot of speed.
In fact, David Rudiman in the 87 car, he just went by Ron Hornaday. Now, he's 2 laps down. Remember, he made that green flag stop earlier, and the caution came out, but he just lost that spot to him.
Dick Berggren?
Well, Greg Biffle is here telling some folks what happened to that engine. What did happen to it, Greg?
Well, I really don't know what happened. They got looked like something was unhappy inside the oil pan, wanted to come outside. So probably broke a rod or something like that. Just, you know, no indication. Great oil pressure, 185, 240 on the temps. And
could that have been the vibration you talked about earlier?
It could have, but my Busch cars have been vibrating since we went testing Daytona. You know, they got a drive line or a transmission issue. Needs to get worked out. We got a ways to go in our engine program, too. You know, we're down over 20 horsepower in restrictor plate racing last week and broke this week, first open race. So I think we got our homework to do if we're going to be competitive in this series.
You got 2 weeks to do it. We'll see you in Vegas.
Here's Hornaday in the 2 going past Jason Keller as you ride along with the Miller Ford.
And contrary to a lot of people's belief, on the Busch side of things, Jack Roush and Robert Yates, they've not joined forces on those engines. It's only in the Nextel Cup Series engines. That could be coming, though.
I'll show you what happened to Derek Cope. Watch the 49 up high, the Advil car.
And that's just getting up there, Mike, where you can see all that dust and dirt and sand and rubber off the tires, and there's no grip up there, and it picks your hot tires that sticks to them, and they just become like snowballs.
You have to be careful and get those tires cleaned off, or it'll feel like he's got a flat tire. Yep, happens.
Guys, we've been talking about it off and on. Kyle Busch making a really strong run up to 9th after being 2 laps down early on. But let's give a call to Kenny Wallace in the number 91 car, driving right now. Stanton Barrett's car started in the back of the pack. Hadn't driven that car at all until today. Got it up there in the top 20 right now. Pretty awesome run for that young man after the trouble he had during qualifying yesterday, not being able to start his car, getting that number 91 and doing a really good job. Right there he is on the screen. Pretty commendable.
Not only that, but he has a rookie spotter up top.
The winner of the Daytona NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race, Carl Edwards. First time he's ever spotted is what I was told. Yeah.
Had to ask directions to the spotter stand. Carl has promised if Kenny wins, he will not do a backflip off the roof.
I would hope not.
Kenny will have to catch him if he does.
NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series lives on speed. And Edwards off to a great start.
Right now, our true leader is Martin Truex Jr. in the 8 car and Michael Waltrip behind him in the 99. Their lap times are pretty much mirroring each other. Now, that lap there, Michael did run a little bit quicker, but for the most part, Michael's really not gaining or losing to the leader, Martin Truex Jr. in 8.
Yeah, and right behind them is a real dogfight back here for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th and on back. These guys are all wadded up here. Kind of a, maybe a that might be a little mini wad right there, but it's a gaggle of them, I know that.
But who's coming and prevailed out of that pack is Jamie McMurray in the 30 car. He's moved up to the 3rd position.
And the other car that's hunting hard is Kyle Busch in the 5. He's all over the 21, and now he's got pressure. Whoa, a lot of pressure there from Johnny Sauter in the 27.
And just remember, it was less than 100 laps ago when he pitted. He was in 37th place, 2 laps down. So that is quite a recovery.
Helped by the free pass, but quite a comeback.
Plus, it just goes to show you don't ever quit. You know, you get 2 laps down, your race isn't over. It's early. We'll get it back.
Next time by, they'll see the crossed flags from the starter stand signifying halfway.
See another car that's not quitting as we go back to our leader, Martin Truex Jr., but that's Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25 car. He's made it to 10th. There you see the cross flags halfway. But remember, he had that pit stop problem with the lug nut, fell back to about 23rd. Now he's back in the top 10.
And you saw the flagman there working really, really hard. I mean, the flagman, we don't give him a lot of credit, but he tries to keep those cats out of your way, moving them over, giving them a layover flag. He gives you a lot of good information if you pay attention to him.
But those cross flags are telling drivers halfway.
Halfway there.
David Green moves up to 5th past Ron Hornaday. Behind Truex, Waltrip, McMurray, and Keller. You're watching the NASCAR Busch Series on FX, presented by John Deere. .105 laps complete at Rockingham. Martin Truex Jr. the leader over Michael Waltrip by about 0.6 of a second. Each team has 1 set of tires in reserve to use under caution. Our Just for Men rejuvenating moment. Kyle Busch getting back to the lead lap and working through. Finally making that pass on Kevin Harvick.
Oh, it's close. Oh, that's even closer.
Tell you what, though, Kyle Busch in that 5 car, he has a good race car. Martin Truex Jr. now, he's starting to get into some lap cars, and that could be a big help for Michael Waltrip in the 99 because they're going to race the leader much harder than they're going to race the 2nd place car.
Ooh, that hole just closed up on Michael, though, between Mike Harmon and Derek Cope. So Michael might have taken advantage there, but he needs to be around to run the remaining laps, and he wouldn't have been if he'd forced it in there.
Yeah, he likes the high line, and then, of course, those guys slid right up in front of him and closed the door, so took him out of contact with the leader for the moment.
Let's get to 11th place, where Mike Bliss in the Rockwell Chevy trying to hold off the Fruit of the Loom Chevy of Robbie Gordon, the 55. Here's Steve.
Mike Joy, I've heard both those drivers tell their teams that they're just riding, trying to conserve their tires. Robbie Gordon in the 55 car tested in his Nextel Cup down here. He drives for Richard Childress in the car he is driving now. Used to belong to Ron Hornaday in the Busch Series. Robbie Gordon saying he learned something during that test. He changed springs and sway bar, and it's working.
You know, right behind that group right there, though, is Ashton Lewis Jr. in the 46 car. Just a good, solid run. He's back in 13th. But you talk about cautions being a break for someone. Johnny Benson in the 1 car. Remember his whole day. Sat on the pole yesterday, got disqualified, had go to the rear of the field. He's working his way up through the field, has a flat tire. Because of his debris, the caution comes out, and he's able to stay on the lead lap, and he's up to 14th position. That caution was a huge break.
Well, you know, they've had it so easy here with that car for the 3 races that Jamie won. They wanted to add a degree of difficulty this weekend. So they're seeing how hard they can make it this weekend, because what he lead almost every lap here last year.
Yeah, that car, I think, led 82% of all the laps of both Busch races.
And he's not out of the hunt by any means. Another caution, he's back in the race. He's in the race now, but he could get closed up on these leaders, and he'd be somebody hard to beat.
Benson is 12.5 seconds behind Martin Truex Jr., the leader. Then it's Michael Waltrip, Jamie McMurray, Jason Keller, and this 5th place battle, the 37 of David Green, the 22 of Jason Keller.
Whoa, the 10 car, Jason Schuler, trying to be a factor in this group.
But you know what? That 10 car did the right thing. He held his line. He knew he was being overtaken on both sides. He didn't panic. He let him go by. So that was good driving on his part.
Lap times are good, buddy. Lap times are good.
Tim Fitoa there in the 12. As you listened in on David Green, here's Kenny Wallace coming in the 91 behind Fitoa. Wallace, whose own car was fastest in practice, but had a problem in qualifying and did not make the show, got into this 91, qualified by Stanton Barrett to run today.
Right now, the 47 car, Robert Presley, he would be the beneficiary. If the caution comes out, he would get the free pass to get back on the lead lap.
And I think, folks, you got to realize something. The man hadn't even driven that race car, hadn't sat in that race car until they started the race this morning, or today at noon. So he's up here, and he hadn't gotten left yet. He's running in an 18th spot. That is really a good job for just jumping in that car like that.
Yeah, Kenny Wallace doing a fine job there and holding on to 18th place. Fermi Sadler in the fans car, the 02, made an unscheduled pit stop earlier, but now he's come back up to 50.
And he's been pretty solid all day long. And I tell you, you got to tip your hat to him and his crew. They bought this car from Bill Davis Racing. It's a car that Scott Wimmer drove last year, and they were still working on it, trying to prepare it on Thursday, going through inspection. So a big tip of the hat not only to Hermie, but his crew.
Well, the lead battle has shrunk right up. Martin Truex Jr. in the 8, now just 2 car lengths ahead of Michael Waltrip.
Yeah, Mikey's a good bit quicker on the clock right now. He just ran a 26.1. Truex is up there to 26.5, so Mikey's car usually gets good the longer he runs.
And that is a good thing at Rockingham.
It's a great thing.
Show you a couple good battles. The one for the lead is on the right. The one on the left is for 5th place. Jason Keller up high, trying to hold off the 27 of Johnny Sauter.
And Johnny Sauter in the 27, he's had a car that's been pretty good on the long runs. You know, realistically, coming into this race, being second the Busch Series points, because Dale Earnhardt Jr. is not running this race, he's trying to take the points lead out of Rockingham.
And a great move by Sauter there, using the lapped car of Derek Cope as a pick. He pins Keller up high and moves on through.
Cope's been used as a pick a lot today. Several times I've seen that happen.
There you see those 2 different grooves. Johnny Sauter in the 27 around the bottom. Jason Keller in the 22 around the top. That's a great thing about this racetrack. You'll see that a lot tomorrow.
Subway 400 coverage on Fox beginning at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. NASCAR on Fox is back.
And the weather forecast is wonderful for tomorrow.
Truex up top, and now Michael's gone to the bottom.
Yeah, I know. He's been running the bottom a little bit more than usual for him, so car must really be working well for him to hang around the bottom like that.
But he can run it wherever he wants, like that time, about 2/3 up the racetrack.
Well, he wants to run high as a driver, but I guess his car wants to run low, so he's working with the car.
So after a spate of 3 cautions within 24 laps, this race has taken on a green flag look to it. How long will the fuel and the tires last?
The tires is the question.
The lead has changed hands at Rockingham, and here it is. Michael Waltrip to the inside of that black car. Martin Truex Jr. Lapped car out in front of them. Truex lifts. Waltrip takes the lead.
Yeah, he got down under him off of 4 up here, and then Menard was there on the outside, and he kind of pinned Truex behind the 33 car, and into the lead he went.
And while we were away, trouble for Casey Kane.
that black 38 had trouble, but the guy behind him caused it too, the 00.
David Stremmy's helmet cam.
David Stremmy's out there 46 laps down, just trying to run as many laps as he can. It's like, oh no, I don't want to get caught up in this mess just trying to make laps. I'm not racing anybody.
What happens over off of 2, you come off that corner, you get a little bit looser, you get going out toward the wall, you squeeze out of the throttle ever so slightly, and the cat behind you rams you. And that's kind of what happened there. And here comes the 00 and the 38 to pit road.
5th place. Johnny Sauter working underneath the AC Delco number 2 of Ron Hornaday.
And that's where Johnny Sauter's car, a lot like Michael Waltrip in the 99, Johnny in the 27, his car's been working good on the bottom.
And there's Stacy up in there, and you know the difference. Is he still on the lead lap?
Nice,
no, he's back. He
good
got a lap back earlier, and he just lost it. He went one down there a little bit ago. But watch Hornaday now. He's going to go in on the bottom of the racetrack, and up the hill he goes.
Loses a lot of ground right there when Johnny Sauter picks the throttle up, like he can pick it up a little earlier and stay in it.
Looks like he's just letting the car float in there and go all the way to the top and then gas it. It's probably a little loose on it.
Now just ahead of this battle is Sauter's teammate David Green, who ended up starting on the pole. He's now running in 4th place behind Waltrip, Truex, and McMurray.
He has a lot of real estate in front of him and behind him. Right now he's really not racing anybody, and you really take care of your tires that way. You're not racing anybody, you can just let your car go where you want to. See David Green again in the 37 in 4th place.
Dick Berggren.
And Larry got it. That's exactly what David Green is doing, is taking care of his tires. The chassis has not been exactly perfect today. Early on in the day, the car was a bit loose. Then they adjusted the car. They got it just a little bit too tight. That's where he is now. So they're looking to take some of that tightness out and hope that they've got it perfect for the final run. Steve?
Dick, Kenny Wallace can thank Stanton Barrett for this ride in the 91, but he should also thank race leader Michael Waltrip. When Kenny failed to qualify for the race, he drove home dejectedly yesterday to Charlotte. Michael Waltrip called him and said, "Get back here, we'll find you a ride." Several years ago at Phoenix, Michael Waltrip failed to qualify for the Cup race while driving for the Wood Brothers. Dale Jarrett got sick. Michael Waltrip got in that car and ran in the top 5 all day just because he stuck around the racetrack. Kenny Wallace can thank Michael Waltrip and Stanton Barrett.
Now still out there is Casey Kane. He's 3 laps down, hoping for a caution and hoping it's not him. The tire's still rubbing?
The left front is still rubbing, but I know who his spotter is. It's his Nextel Cup car owner, Ray Evernham, up above us right here, and I have to believe Ray is watching it pretty close. But I'm going to tell you what could really, and you see the further on the racetrack when he dips on that apron, it even rubs even worse. I'm going to tell you what this race could really come down to. We're probably about 10, 15, maybe 20 laps away from a green flag stop. That final pit stop for Michael Waltrip, Martin Truex Jr., Jamie McMurray, that could be the key. No mistakes if this race goes green the rest of the way.
And what will happen inevitably is some of the really good guys will pit, go a lap or 2 down, and then just about the time everybody's ready to make their final stop, the caution will come out.
Oh, they'd love to come to pit road right now, but the gamble is that caution falling before it cycles through.
Because
then you're 2 laps down, just like Kyle Busch was earlier.
You get the old tire, new tire thing going on. Somebody runs into somebody on old tires. You got new ones, and you get a caution.
Derek Cope has taken his Ford to the garage, and the hood goes up. Casey Kane comes to pit road. NASCAR Busch Series on FX, presented by John Deere, is brought to you by Smooth Busch Beer and Easy Drinking Busch Light. Busch, the proud sponsor of the NASCAR Busch Series. Right now, Michael Waltrip, your leader, taking the lead on lap 125. Martin Truex Jr. leading the most laps, 68 thus far. As we wind this thing down, the tires, long runs, I guess you lose about, what, 7 miles per hour over the long run, Jeff Hammond?
That's about right, Chris, what you get it into. The cars slow down almost 2 seconds from when they're brand new to where they are right now. Michael Waltrip, you can see, getting close to time to make a pit stop. He's got his hands full no matter whether they're running the top or the bottom, and he's the leader.
Jamie McMurray going for his 4th straight win here in the Busch Series, running 3rd.
Well, I'd say it's going to all come down to one thing. How you get on and off pit road, who does the best job on pit road. Pit strategy right now is going to be the call of the day.
And looking for his first win, Martin Truex Jr., also Kyle Busch. You mentioned he's back in the top 10 after having fallen back a couple of laps early in the race.
Again, he's had an outstanding run trying to figure out what his car needs, and I'm sure he's been communicating to his guys on pit road. Look, we got to make this last stop. I need this much to my race car if you expect me to beat Michael Waltrip.
53 laps to go. Let's go back upstairs to Mike Joy, Larry McReynolds, and Darrell Waltrip.
You know, there's a lot of pushing and shoving that goes on back in the pack that sometimes we don't see. But watch this 5 car coming off of turn 4 here. He gets in the back of Bobby Jr. and he says, I got to go, baby. I've had a rough day and I need to get to the front.
And times are running out.
That's right.
Green flag pit stops have begun. Johnny Benson is in for tires. Now, these don't count against the allotment since he takes them under green, but he will lose a lap or 2 in the process.
Yeah, wasn't that many laps ago, we had about 18 cars on the lead lap. Mike Wallace was the first of the lead lap cars to come to pit road in the 4 car. He was on at lap 139. Johnny Benson in the 1 comes to pit road. So now we've got, it looks like we've got a fire on pit road. That's in Robert Presley's pits.
He was just coming out of the pit as we watched Benson, and something, fuel spill?
Probably so. I mean, you've got hot lug nuts laying down there. You've got a lot of things that if fuel hits any of it, it can cause a fire, but it looks like they got it put out okay. Matt Yoakum, what's going on?
Larry Mack, there was a fuel spill, but Michael Waltrip is getting ready to pit. Members of his team are trying to sweep up some of the aftermath and the fire extinguisher because Michael will have to drive through that pit on entry into his pit.
Robbie Gordon is in, so is Stacy Compton, as green flag pit stops are the order of the day.
Yeah, I noticed Michael had moved up to the top of the racetrack, so he's obviously out of tires. Now it's just a matter of hoping and praying, and when you come to pit road, nothing happens. How about it, Burns?
ADW, 4 tires for Robbie Gordon. No other changes, just rubber all the way around for Robbie Gordon. Left side tires going on, and he's away.
Now, he was a top 12 car.
Yeah, he'd been hanging right out there in the top 10 or 12. And just remember, when you make a green flag stop here, you're going to go about 2 laps down with pit road speed and the pit stop. All of these guys.
Be ready. I think the 8's getting ready to come. We're probably not going to we're not going to stay out much longer than that.
All right, what Jerry Baxter is telling Michael in the 99 is we can't afford to give up any time on those fresh tires if the 8 car Truex Jr. is going to come as well. We've got to come with him, basically.
Yeah, but you know, when you're the leader, you're the sitting duck. Everybody kind of keys off of you. But if I'm Michael, he's running decent lap time still. I'd stay out as long as I could, and Truex is on pit road.
Along with Kenny Wallace, Mike Harmon, David Ruderman.
We've talked about it earlier. The gamble is if until all these guys cycle through their pit stops, if that caution comes out.
Here comes the 99.
Matt?
Michael Waltrip's coming in. Martin Truex Jr. a slow entry trying to go around a back marker. I don't see the wedge wrench going in the back window now as both cars are in. Truex, he has finished second Busch Series competition on 2 separate occasions, trying to make his first trip to victory lane a little slow on the left front, but a solid stop. Meanwhile, Michael Waltrip's team, they know they've got to pull off a great stop here to get Michael back to victory lane. He hasn't gone to Busch Series victory lane since Bristol last year as Rodney Fetters helps with that tire. He's going to be running around the front, cleaning that windshield for Michael Waltrip as they go to work on the left side. Almost 3 pumps there for Rodney. Good solid stop for Michael Waltrip's team. He's down and away.
Hornaday and McMurray are in, along with Fedowa and Atwood. And now, pit road is filling up, Jeannie. Here they come.
Jamie McMurray present and accounted for. He had started to notice a vibration in the car. It has been loose all day. Of course, he's getting the 4 tires, half-pound out of the right rear, but he's been driving great, so they are clean.
Johnny Sauter, Kyle Busch, Bobby Hamilton in the pits, Ashton Lewis. Steve?
Mike, Jason Keller had wanted to wait till lap 170, but the leaders forced their hand, so they're in early. They couldn't afford to waste any more time. 4 tires for Jason Keller, no adjustments.
Mike Bliss is in, Andy Ponstein. You're watching Kyle Busch. Dick Bergman.
Johnny Sauter has just made his pit stop, a major chassis adjustment. Right behind him is David Green. They are also adjusting the chassis on his car, going to loosen it up just a little bit. Right sides are on, left sides are going on. This will be a 4-tire stop. They'll still have 1 set. This doesn't count against the 3 that they've got because it's a green flag stop.
David Green was the leader. Kevin Harvick now picks up first place. Here's a look at Harvick and the Reese's Chevy. Aaron Fike is on pit road along with David Stremme, who's many laps down.
You know, we talk about not making mistakes. You know, how many pit stops do you think Michael Waltrip in the 99 has made under green at all the racetracks, including Rockingham? But well, you got to tip your hat to Martin Truex Jr. Not only his pit crew, he's not made that many green flag stops in the Busch Series, but he has a good solid stop. He comes to the sign, no mistakes on his part, and he comes out almost making up a little ground on Michael.
Do you remember Dover when he drove the car at Dover and he spun getting on pit road at Dover? I think he learned it. I think he's a pretty quick study. He learned his lesson.
So that leaves Harvick and Steve Grissom as the two lead lap cars that have not yet been on pit road. Paul Menard also has not yet cycled through and made his pit stop.
The problem, they're giving 2 seconds a lap up to the leader. Their only hope is a caution comes out in the next 3 or 4 laps.
Yeah, and there's a good chance of that. I mean, you know, if you look at history will tell you that this is the time you have somebody getting into somebody and spinning out.
Here's Grissom, former series champ, who has picked up now 2nd place.
Has that DCT on the hood, that stands for dreams come true.
42 laps to go. He's going to need a pit stop.
Again, this strategy for Steve Grissom or Kevin Harvick, if we go green, it's not going to win the race for them. They need a caution flag because they're just giving up so much time.
Harvick run 25.0, and Michael's back here running, or 27.0. Michael's back here running 26.2.
Waving, Harvick waving out the window there.
He's getting ready to turn left.
Have to hurry. You're the lucky dog right now.
And Paul Menard is made a rookie mistake and will get a pass-through penalty as Jason Leffler comes to pit road. Menard, after the commitment line, turned in onto pit road, and that will get him a penalty drive through.
Yeah, we got a couple of cones down there, and you've got to be committed to pit road, and you got to be single file when you get there now.
Which is a good move.
Good move. Good move.
You've been seeing Kevin Harvick use his hand signals like on the front stretch a while ago. He knows how quick these guys are catching him, and he's trying to give up as little bit of time as possible, showing them where to go by me, either on the low side or the high side.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of playing the hand he's been dealt. He can't, you know, when he makes his pit stop now, he is going to be really a couple of laps down. So he's just hoping for that caution. If he doesn't get it, then his strategy goes out the window.
But if the caution comes out, everybody can get tires.
Everybody can get tires, and he's going to be, you know, he's going to be in trouble either way. So probably not a good move.
And this is the battle for third right here. Martin Truex Jr. in the 8 car, Michael Waltrip in the 99. They're basically about 10 seconds behind leader Kevin Harvick. But until Kevin Harvick pits right now, we only have about 7 cars on the lead lap. And that would change when him and Steve Grissom do come to pit road.
Michael's made up 5 seconds on Harvick in the last 3 laps.
Right now we have 37 laps to go. But Steve, what are they thinking with this strategy?
Hey, Larry Mack, DW was exactly right about Kevin Harvick. They're trying to play the tire game. They've been fighting a tight race car all day. He's also been having radio problems. They think this is their only shot to win the race.
But right now, if he pits under green, he's going to go from leading the race to almost maybe even 2 laps down.
Well, at this stage, they call that strategy, we hope there's a caution, and we hope it's not us.
And they're trying hard down there in 3 and 4, aren't they, DW?
Oh, yeah, they're bumping and grinding. There goes the 30 car by Michael, and that puts him back up in 3rd place.
I mean, you just look at the interval right there, how much he's mowed him down just in those few laps. That's 3 laps, 4 seconds.
And Jamie McMurray is quicker than that as he moves up in the order. This is the NASCAR Busch Series on FX, presented by John Deere. Kevin Harvick got what he wanted, a caution flag, but it wasn't pretty. The Goody's Headache Powders 200 under yellow because Aaron Fike spun up in turn number 3, and long after the caution waved was T-boned by Hermie Sadler. Both drivers are okay. You see them both, but the damage to those cars is heavy. Fike will lead the 43 down on the inside.
Gets cut off a little bit there.
Johnny Sauter
tries to stay off of Sauter, and in the process of doing that, he spins the car around. Whoa, that was a great move there.
Bobby Hamilton
squeezes through on the outside. Now, Fike's holding the car up here. He's not going to let it roll down the hill. He's going to lock the brakes up here.
Now, remember, everybody's supposed to be slowing down right now. You're not gaining anything by racing.
The field is frozen. Now, you're going to see this car start to roll, but I'm not so sure he didn't see Hermie coming and thought, oh, gee.
Oh.
That was a hard hit.
I think he saw that car coming, and he said, he's not going to miss me. Yeah, I mean, he's all the way up on the outside. I don't know. It's hard to say what a driver's thinking, but I think the 43 Fike thought he saw him coming. He said, oh, gee, I got to get down.
Here's how Michael Waltrip saw it.
And he saw all of that.
I agree, Darrell. You know, Hermie's coming to the high side. Well, I'll give him room up there.
Yeah, I think that's what he thought then he realized, oh my gosh, that is right in the driver's door.
Both guys got out and walked to the ambulance, though. That says a lot for the integrity of these race cars.
And the 43 was just, I mean, he didn't have any damage. He just spun, and he was just sitting there.
Hermie Sadler, his crew chief and spotter, will have a meeting in the Busch Series officials truck after this race is over.
And right now, pit road is closed. We are showing 12 cars on the lead lap. Big break for Kevin Harvick. Big break for Steve Grissom as well in fifth.
We're working the fourth caution of the day. Here at Rockingham, you're looking at Kevin Harvick. He and Steve Grissom had hoped for a caution so their fuel strategy would play out. The caution came out when Aaron Fike was squeezed down by Johnny Sauter and spun up to the high side at turn 3. Was then tagged hard by Hermie Sadler. But in Harvick's pit, not seeing the incident, just knowing the caution was out, they're pumped up. It's good for Harvick, who will now get a chance to pit under caution. Steve Burns.
Yeah, Mike, it's great for Kevin Harvick. They've been battling two problems, a radio communication problem in a tight race car, so they will drop air pressure 1 pound in the left rear tire, and crew chief Ricky Byers is communicating to Kevin Harvick via team owner Richard Childress, so Richard then talks to Kevin. Jeannie.
Jamie McMurray had 2 questions. 1, do I end up another set of tires? And 2, what's the 8 car going to do? That's the decision to pit. The car's been a little tight. They've made adjustments. Matt?
No adjustments for the 8 car. They will go with 4 sticker tires. Just besides the driver and the crew chief, Dale Jr. took a chance on the over-the-wall guys. A solid stop 3 have never worked over the wall before. Dick.
David Green had been running in 5th position. His crew had anxiously been waiting for him. He's gotten 4 tires and fuel. He's gone.
So is Michael Waltrip. There's Johnny Sauter getting his pit work. Now, this caution benefited Kevin Harvick and Steve Grissom. However, the former series champ had to pit while pit road was closed because he ran out of fuel.
And I'm not surprised, really, because it had been 89 laps since he pitted. You remember at the beginning of the show, we showed you the graphic, tires and fuel. That's about how far these cars could go on fuel. Now, the penalty will be he has to start at the tail end of the longest line, not the end of the line of lead lap cars, but the end of the longest line. But he's still going to be sitting back there in about 12th position. Good run for this group regardless.
And the other driver to benefit will be Robbie Gordon. He'll get the free pass.
Now let's see what happened here with Hermie. He's up on the outside here. He's coming down in the corner. He's forced up high, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. I wouldn't really say he's racing anybody. It's got to be that car that was in front of him took his sight vision away, and he couldn't see Fike sitting there. And by the time he did, it was too late.
Agree, Darrell. It still doesn't answer the question of why were they still going so fast.
Yeah, that's true. The
caution had been out.
Spotters should have been telling him to back it down.
You know what I like, though? 26 laps to go. Nobody has any tires. You can just say, go, boys, go.
And we will when we come back. Welcome back to the NASCAR Busch Series on FX. Presented by John Deere. Our John Deere trivia question. Jamie McMurray is trying to tie whose record for winning 4 in a row?
Oh, man, this is really hard. What do you think, Larry?
I think his first name and his last name starts with the same letter.
And then I've seen him on TV saying 6.
That's my number.
Anybody not get it yet? Jeannie?
My fault. I didn't
Well, Hermie, we're jumping live to the air. The guys up top want to know, okay, what happened? So I guess you could start the story all over again.
Well, it's my fault. I don't know what happened to the 43 to get him sideways, but my car was really fast up on the high side, and I jumped up on the outside of the 20 to make a pass, and my guy said, you know, caution's out. And as soon as I looked up, the 43 was there. I started slowing down and started turning down at the bottom, and when I did, he let go of the brakes, and, you know, he didn't see me coming. I mean, so it's my fault. I should have slowed down quicker, but say hello to everybody at home. I'm fine. Thanks, everybody, for the fans' car and everybody for supporting us. You know, we had a really good car going, and can't seem to get to the end of these things, but I'm fine, and we'll try again in Vegas.
Oh, so close. Matt?
Kevin Bonamania's car will restart from the 4th position. Twice last year, you finished 2nd. When a caution came out late, ruining your chance for a win, how is your car on the short run now, Bono?
Right now it's pretty good. We've improved our short run game from last year to this year. The long-term goal is still run good on the long run here, and you got to do that. So you got a couple of Winston Cup veterans in front of us, and Martin's used to these 20-25 lapper Wall Stadium kind of shootouts. So we went up on air a little bit, and I ain't counting them out yet.
Twice he has finished 2nd, searching his first Busch Series win. Mike?
Field jostling a bit as they get to turn 3 to try to get to double file. Lead lap cars on the outside, led by Kevin Harvick.
And they go up on the air a little bit on these short runs, so because they don't want to take it takes too long for the pressure to come up, so they add a little air so he can go fast on these short runs.
And I was mistaken, Darrell. Robbie Gordon did not get the free pass. That was given to Jason Keller. So there's Robbie right alongside race leader Kevin Harvick. He's the first car 1 lap down as we get the green flag. 22 to go. 21 to go, rather.
21 to go. Oh, intensity is picking up. Robbie Gordon in that 55 car, he races his teammate pretty hard through 1 and 2. He's trying to get back on the lead lap. Meanwhile, Jamie McMurray in the 30 car eases into turn 3, gets a run on the bottom. Robbie Gordon carries Harvick all the way to the top of the racetrack.
Oh, boy. Those are supposedly teammates sometime. Not today, though.
There's the man out front now, Jamie McMurray in that 30 car. He's going for 4 in a row.
And you know, Larry, he was coming on strong just before that caution came out, so I think he's going to be off. He's got a good chance of tying Mark Martin's record.
He's been a rocket the last 100 miles. McMurray has.
Kevin Harvick finally clears Robbie Gordon in the 55 car. I think he acknowledges he's not very happy with what went on right there. Those two guys have pulled away from the 3rd place car, Martin Truex Jr., though, but in the meanwhile, Jamie McMurray has pulled away about 10 car lengths with about 19 laps to go.
Only 4 times in NASCAR Busch Series history has one driver won 4 in a row at one track. And Jamie McMurray just turned the fastest lap of the day just now.
178 laps into this race, and right now he just ran over 2/10 quicker than 2nd place Kevin Harvick in the 21.
Dale Earnhardt won 4 in a row at Daytona. Jack Ingram 4 in a row at South Boston, as did Tommy Ellis and Mark Martin here.
He just ran 100. What is this? 24.78.
It's fast.
About 147 miles per hour. That's average on a 1-mile racetrack this deep into the race. I think we always underestimate the speed at this 1-mile racetrack.
We do, and of course, you know, in the opening I was saying, is it the car or is it the driver? Well, I guess we know now.
Speaking of the car he drove last year is that #1 of Johnny Benson, who is in 9th place and battling hard for 7th.
And he's had a tough day, man. Went to the back, had a flat, had to go into pits, went to the back again. So Benson's done a great job of getting himself back up here in the front.
I mean, this is a dogfight right here from David Green, who's up in 5th place, all the way back to Johnny Benson, who's in 9th.
Green is that green car, the 37. Passing the 4 of Mike Wallace. And now under pressure from the 5 of Kyle Busch.
And see, David Green, this is the thing he does so well. He just quietly gets those top 5 and 10 finishes. That's why he's going to be a championship contender in the Busch Series.
The one change in the point system in the Busch Series for 2004 is 5 more points for winning a race.
You know, Darrell, right now, as we watch Jamie McMurray in the 30 car with about 14 laps to go, he's not going to have to deal with any lap cars. And he can kind of look in that mirror. His crew chief's giving him the lap times. He can kind of run his own race right here and take care of things.
He's definitely just pulling away from everybody else. And that's just great concentration, great focus. And he's turning it on when it counts.
What do you concentrate on if you're in the middle of that wad of cars for 6 right there?
Well, a lot of things. Is somebody going to run into me and wreck me is the biggest thing.
You're watching for Mike Wallace, the #4, who is 2 laps down. There's Benson.
what a roller coaster he's had. Remember, sat on the buck pole yesterday, disqualified after qualifying, had to go to the rear of the field, works his way back up, has a flat tire, almost goes a lap down, gets a caution, and now he's back up here battling to stay in the top 10.
And quite honestly, if he was up front, I think he has a car that, looking at the lap times, it's good enough to be out there leading the race.
He's definitely passed more cars than anyone today.
He has.
Kenny Wallace trying to pass brother Mike. Kenny is 1 lap down. Actually, they're both 1 lap down. They're battling for position, 15th and 16th.
Tell you what, speaking of a battle right here, as we look at David Green in the 37 and Kyle Busch in the 5, we're going to have a battle for second here pretty quick, I think, between Kevin Harvick in the 21 and Martin Truex Jr. in the 8. Truex has reeled Harvick in here in the last couple of laps. Right now, Martin Truex Jr. is running quicker even than the leader, but he's almost 2 seconds behind Jamie McMurray.
And only has 11 laps left to go.
Right now, Jamie McMurray, he has a couple of cars up in front of him. He just wants this thing to stay green the rest of the way. No caution. Don't bunch these guys back up for me.
Well, we know the car was good, Darrell, but we know Jamie McMurray. What makes him so good at this racetrack?
It's just one of those. I can remember going to Bristol and winning lots and lots of races. I would go there every time I'd win. I'd say, I don't know. I just like this place. It has a lot to do with the driver's attitude. A lot of guys come here and say, I hate this place slip sliding all over the place. I don't like it. He comes in there with a good positive attitude. He goes out and wins the race.
That's the battle for 6 right there with Kyle Busch in the 5, Johnny Sauter in 27, Martin Truex Jr. with 9 laps to go. He goes by Kevin Harvick for second place. Remember, he finished second here in the October race.
There's 2 things that I always think about. One is the driver knows where he is, but the car doesn't.
Right.
And so the driver obviously makes a huge difference.
Johnny Sauter still working on Kyle Busch, 6th place. And Truex now 1.7 off the lead. There's Truex.
You know what a great run this would be for Martin Truex Jr. even to finish second. Remember, he sat on the pole at Daytona, got into the practice wreck, and then had the big wreck on Monday in the makeup part of that race. So this would be a good recovery for these guys even to come home second.
Didn't he finish second here last fall?
Second, yeah.
Matt?
In fact, under that caution, Kevin Bono-Mania said, yes, we want the win, but let's also think of the bigger picture. We're 27th in points. Even though the Chance 2 team with Dale Jr. won and leads the Busch Series point standings coming in, which, by the way, the last time the same driver led both, the Big E, Dale Earnhardt, back in 1991 when they left Rockingham, but they want to come out of here with the win. Driver of the 8 is asking for all lap cars to go to the high side so he can try the bottom, Mike.
The problem is you don't have that many lap cars to deal with right now as they come by. 5 laps to go this time, and actually he was a little slower than Jamie McMurray. Actually, that lap a little quicker than McMurray.
0.5-second lead.
He's definitely nibbling away at that lead, and Jamie's getting ready to come up on the back of some slow cars here that could have an outcome in this race.
Trying to tie Mark Martin for 4 in a row at Rockingham, and then it's the overall record, which is 5. Ingram won 5 in a row at South Boston, not 4, and Dale Earnhardt 5 in a row at Daytona. Martin's 4-peat is the most recent.
Jamie is, we're going to get 3 to go this time. He definitely is in some lap cars, but they seem like they're yielding to him pretty good. A little bit, one goes low, one goes high for him. But Mark Truex Jr. will have to deal with those same cars.
Yeah. But Jamie's good enough. His car's good enough. He can kind of pick and choose. He went right between them, so the car's obviously working really good for him.
And he's still the fastest car on the racetrack on the stopwatch. This battle won't give up. 6th place, Kyle Busch in the 5 with Johnny Sauter.
And they run 2 definite grooves. Johnny Sauter in the 27. He's been hugging that white line since the drop of the green flag. Kyle Busch has had to run different lines.
With 2 to go, that's the best battle on the track, and looks like Sauter was there.
As they come to the line now for about This should be the white flag lap actually for Jamie McMurray. He's going to clear Casey Kane to 38. Smooth sailing from here. No more lap cars.
No, but that 8 car is there. I mean, you know, one slip.
He's not far back. 5 car lengths back.
One slip here off of either that turn 2 or down here in 3 and 4, and he's going to open the door.
2 of the young guns.
Here
Jamie
Truex.
McMurray.
He's driving that baby in there for all she's worth.
He bailed her in there. He did what he had to do.
And it slid up the hill on him. Jamie McMurray.
Bring it home, buddy. Come on. That's 4 in a row right here. 4 in a row.
Jamie McMurray wins the Goody's Headache Powders 200.
One thing I noticed about McMurray, he gets into the corner smoother than anybody I see here.
Trouble at start finish. Ashton Lewis and Kenny Wallace crash.
That was a battle. 15.
Come on, boys, slow down.
Man.
Now, even on the last lap, the cars do not race to the flag if the caution is displayed.
Yeah,
but that all happened way behind Jamie McMurray.
And they're over here. They're across the finish line. Those guys are racing to the finish line. So,
Darrell, this has to be so rewarding for Jamie McMurray, though, to have accomplished what he has accomplished with 3 different race teams.
That is amazing right there, and it answers your question. Was it the car or the driver? Now we know.
Now we know.
Ashton Lewis in his unsponsored car and Kenny Wallace in a pickup ride were battling for 15th at the flag when they collided. Coming off turn 4.
Whoops. Kenny come up in front of Ashton there to try to, I wouldn't say necessarily block him. That's just kind of what happens here. And you see the results.
Shame to tear up 2 good race cars in the last 100 feet of the race.
For 15th place.
And especially since that Stanton Barrett's car, the 91 car that he basically put Kenny Wallace in where he could start this race.
We'll be back as Jamie McMurray has won 4 in a row at the Rock.
NASCAR on FX is brought to you by John Deere, by Aaron's, by Trim Spa, and by Nextel.
There's your winner in Rockingham, 27-year-old Jamie McMurray. He's the Nicolas Cage of the Rock, and let's check in with our Matt Yoker.
And he had a goal coming into Rockingham, and that was to tie Mark Martin's record. 4 straight Busch Series wins. And it's a dive into the mosh pit again for the 4th straight time. How big is this win? This was your big goal coming in.
Oh, this is, you can't see, this is awesome. I don't believe to win 4 races here, and really the way the race started out, the car was real loose, and I was a little bit nervous. I thought we were going to run about 10th, and just adjusting all day. Donnie helped out. Randy Cox did a great job. First race as a crew chief to win, and he didn't thank Trim Spa, though, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. So want to thank them, and
what about the pass?
I know, I can't believe I took the lead. When I didn't really need that caution. I thought we're going to be good here, and the caution came out, and I was a little nervous. I thought, it's helped me so much here. It's liable to hurt me this time. I told you earlier I didn't want it, but for some reason, we just kept adjusting on the car, and it got really good on the short run. And gosh, I was real nervous because Robbie Gordon was on the inside of me, and he's so hard to pass, when anytime. And then he rooted Harvick out of the way, and I thought, of all the guy, a teammate roots me out of the way. So just a good day for us. That's awesome.
And real quick, you got lost going to victory lane again?
Yeah, I told him of all the victory lanes I can't find. That's amazing. But I saw these guys standing there, and I just couldn't see. Just excited. Hey.
He pulls it off again. 4 straight, Dick, for Jamie McMurray.
Well, Martin Truex Jr. for the 3rd time in 11 tries finishes 2nd in NASCAR's Busch Series. How bad do you want to win one of these things?
Well, I was trying pretty hard at the end there, trying to win it, but just bad circumstances for us again. We needed longer runs, and I got behind on that restart. I couldn't clear them lap cars like Jamie did, and he got out there on us. And man, but what an awesome job! Chance 2, Bass Pro Shops, everybody involved. Bono, great car all weekend. We knew we were going to have something good after Happy Hour last night, and I'm real proud of all these guys. Just real proud to be driving this race car.
Nice job, Steve Burns.
Dick, Kevin Harvick battled a tight race car and radio problems, but you brought her home third. How'd you do it?
These Reese Chevrolet guys, Ricky Byers and all the guys made a great call in the pits, and if we'd have been able to run 100-lap runs, we'd have been okay, but we were just a little bit tight, and you know, just took us a while to settle into our pace, and all in all, it was a great day for the Reese Chevrolet, and for me, this is a great day here, and you know, I struggled tremendously here for some reason, just don't have a good feel for the racetrack, and so all in all, it's been a good weekend so far.
Kevin, you and Robbie Gordon are supposed to be Nextel Cup teammates, but it didn't look like it late in the race.
Somebody, I'll have to ask him that question. We just race the track and do what we have to do. He'll take care of himself.
Thank you, Kevin. Good luck tomorrow. Jeannie?
We'll see one of the strongest cars out here, at least the first half, maybe the entire race. Michael Waltrip, why are we not in victory lane, my friend? We're standing out here.
Man, we've had a great car here the last couple of years, and despite our efforts, Jamie McMurray just keeps on winning every race. Again, you know, I love my car. At the end of the race, I don't know if those other guys have lower tire pressures than me or what, but I did what I thought I was supposed to do, raised my air and took a little wedge out of it, and I set on go and wouldn't go, pushed. And it was disappointing to finish fourth after the way it ran all day long, but nevertheless, the Aaron's Dream Machine, we're leasing quality products for less, in case you were wondering about that. The Aaron's Dream Machine ran well, and we're going to load her up and take her to Vegas now.
All right, we were wondering, and at least you finished top 5. You get all that in. Mike?
Thanks.
Thanks, Jeannie. Jamie McMurray, 5 Busch Series wins. 4 of them have come here. McMurrayham?
No, it sounds good to me, and it may not sound good to anybody else. It sounds good to me.
Okay, we got to tip our hat to the 7th, 8th, and 9th place finishers. Kyle Busch, Bobby Hamilton Jr., and Johnny Benson all had problems early in the race, especially Johnny Benson before the green flag, but they come back to rally for top 10 finishes.
Well, Steve Grissom didn't turn out too bad for him. He ended up on the lead lap there in 12th.
Yeah, that pit strategy really worked out well for him, and of course I think it did for Harvick too, so that gamble that they were taking paid off.
David Stremme, who had high hopes, Jamie McMurray's teammate, comes on 36 after the engine problem, and Greg Biffle looked like he was going to walk away from this thing as well, has an engine problem too.
Yeah, Biffle's car had that Mark Martin look.
We'll see you tomorrow. Here's Chris Meyer.
All right, thanks, guys. Kevin Harvick leading after 2 of the 34 Busch races in points. Remember, Dale Earnhardt Jr. obviously didn't run today, but his teammates, Robbie Gordon, 4th currently.
Yeah, right now you look at those 2 guys as far as where they wound up in the points, but realizing they're not going to run all the point races, so that's going to be a definite change as we go further into the season. So, but I did see guys like Bobby Hamilton Jr., David Green, they're up there in the top 10, so there you see the point battle already starting to kind of take shape.
And a guy like Jamie McMurray looking as excited as his first win here. So 4 in a row, and it doesn't get old. And a guy who likes remote control cars, not just for fun as a hobby, he said it helps him when it comes to steering his race car.
Cool, man.
That's cool.
I mean, that's exactly right. It was cool.
He always says cool, and he was cool.
He really was cool. I mean, he's got this racetrack figured out, Chris. I mean, he definitely has got it in tune right now as far as what it takes. Think about it. What is he going to be doing tomorrow? He's starting outside for the Nextel race tomorrow, so he likes this racetrack.
He'll be comfortable. Our full weekend of racing continuing up next. Stick around. NASCAR Nextel Cup practice here on FX. Tomorrow, start your day with NASCAR this morning on Fox Sports Net, followed by the best drivers in America going head-to-head in the Subway 400. 1 Eastern, 10 Pacific on the pre-race show. DW talks with Dale Jr. and also 10 laps with Tony Stewart. NASCAR continuing all weekend long across the Fox networks. And Aaron Fike is being taken to a hospital for further evaluation after that wreck with Hermie Sadler. He is alert. We'll update you later or tomorrow. Kenny Wallace, Ashton Lewis appeared to be okay too. That late wreck as Jamie McMurray crossed the finish line for the 4th straight time here in a Busch race at The Rock. For all of us, thanks for hanging around, and stick around a little longer. Of course, tomorrow on Fox, Cup Racing. Up next, Cup Practice from The Rock.